While you're out there waiting for motivation, billion-dollar thinkers are out there executing. They don't wait, they dominate. You think they got lucky? No, they train their minds to win before they even touched a dollar. So ask yourself right now, are you ready to think like a winner or keep living like a wisher? Most people want success, but few are built to handle it. Why? Because they don't have the mindset. Billion-dollar thinkers aren't born, they're built. In this video, I'm going to rip apart the excuses holding you back and expose the 6 mindset shifts that separate the ultra-rich from the average. Ready to level up? Then buckle the hell up. Billion-dollar minds don't think in hours, days, or even months. They operate in decades. That's the difference between them and the average person. While most people are busy looking for shortcuts, quick wins, or the next dopamine hit from their phone, the true empire builders are playing a long game that most people aren't even mentally prepared for. They aren't seduced by overnight success because they know it doesn't exist. What exists is patience, pain, and relentless execution over years that feel like an eternity to those who crave comfort. That's what separates the legends from the wannabes. These people understand that real wealth, generational, sustainable, untouchable wealth, is built over time. It's not created by jumping on trends or flipping some crypto coin. It's created by putting in the work no one sees for reward that may not come for years. They invest time, energy, and resources with the full understanding that they might not see the fruit for a decade. And they're okay with that. Why? Because they trust their process. They trust the plan. They're not hoping it will work. They know it will, because they built every part of it with intention and intensity. When others quit because things are taking too long, these thinkers are just getting warmed up. They don't need validation today to stay committed. They don't fall for the illusion of fast success on social media. They're too focused, too grounded, and too obsessed with long-term results. While the world is distracted, they're sharpening their tools, hiring the right people, building strong foundations, and playing chess while everyone else is playing tic-tac-toe with their future. Let's get one thing straight. This mindset is not comfortable. It's not glamorous. It's lonely. It requires sacrifice. They skip vacations. They miss parties. They reinvest every dollar instead of showing off. While everyone else is living their best life, billion-dollar thinkers are designing a life they won't need to escape from. They're not trying to impress anyone today. They're setting up to own tomorrow. And here's the kicker. Most people will never understand them. Because most people are addicted to now. Now, results. Now, rewards. Now, comfort. That's why most people will never lead, never dominate, and never build anything that lasts. But the few who embrace the long game, the real players, they're the ones who own the game. The ones who get laughed at today and envied 10 years from now. So you want to think like a billionaire, start by stretching your vision. Stop asking what can happen in 6 weeks and start asking what can be built in 6 years. Kill the urge for instant gratification. Burn the fantasy of overnight wins. Get obsessed with the process and let time work for you, not against you, because in the end, the ones who think in decades are the only ones who truly change the world. Failure fuels them. It doesn't freeze them. That's what separates billion-dollar thinkers from the rest of the crowd. While most people flinch at the thought of rejection, the top 0.01% run toward it. They don't view failure as defeat. They see it as feedback. They don't internalize a loss and turn it into a self-pity party. No, they dissect it. They analyze what went wrong, why it happened, and how they're going to crush it the next time around. Most people let a single no derail their entire journey. One rejection and they fold like a cheap chair. But billion-dollar minds, they expect resistance. In fact, they get suspicious when it's too easy. They understand that every setback is a setup for a stronger comeback if they're willing to learn. Look at any self-made billionaire. You'll see a graveyard of failed businesses, missed deals, burned bridges, and painful lessons. But here's the kicker. They never let those failures define them. They used them. They got sharper, harder, smarter. You think Elon Musk made every rocket fly on the first try? You think Jeff Bezos didn't lose millions on bad ideas? The difference is they didn't let those losses become their identity. Weak minds say, I failed, so I must be a failure. Billion-dollar thinkers say, I failed, good. Now I know what not to do. Let's go again. This mindset requires unshakable mental toughness. You have to stop romanticizing the idea of winning without bleeding first. Victory comes with scars. Success is rented. And the rent is due in pain, in rejection, in relentless effort. When others break down, billion-dollar thinkers break through. They don't collapse under pressure, they transform under it. It's not just about persistence. It's about adapting, adjusting, and attacking again with better intel and more precision. They understand the game is long. One loss doesn't kill momentum unless you let it. They see failure as part of the formula. In their world, if you're not failing, you're playing too small. You're not taking enough risk. Playing it safe is the most dangerous strategy. Playing to avoid failure is the same as playing to stay broke. So if you're someone who's afraid to lose, afraid to hear no, afraid to fall flat on your face, don't expect to win big. Because billion-dollar thinkers don't build empires by staying comfortable. They don't hide from the fight, they seek it out. They know that inside every failure is the raw material for greatness. They don't need to be perfect, they just need to keep going. That's the mindset, that's the standard. Eat failure, digest the pain, and turn every loss into fuel for your next level. That's how billion-dollar empires are born, not in comfort, but in the fire. They obsess over execution, not just ideas. Ideas are worthless without action. That's the brutal truth nobody wants to hear. Every broke person out there thinks they're just one idea away from success, but here's the reality. The world is full of people with million-dollar ideas who are sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. They dream, they talk, they write it down in fancy notebooks, maybe even build a vision board, but nothing happens. Why? Because they never execute. And if you don't execute, you don't win, period. Billion-dollar thinkers are ruthless when it comes to execution. They don't chase 50 ideas at once. They don't get distracted by shiny objects or the next big thing. They pick one idea, just one, and then they go all in like their life depends on it, because it damn well does. They treat that one idea like war. They study it, break it down, build systems around it, eliminate anything or anyone who slows it down. They don't stop to ask permission. They don't wait for motivation. They act with violent focus. And guess what? That's why they win. Not because they're smarter, not because they had a better idea, but because they executed with fire in their gut and zero tolerance for excuses. The average person gets stuck in analysis paralysis, overthinking, doubting, waiting for the right time. Let me break it to you. There is no right time. There's right now. Billion-dollar thinkers know perfection is the enemy of progress. They ship it, fix it later, and move fast. While you're still wondering if your idea is good enough, they've launched, failed, learned, and adjusted 10 times. Execution is messy, uncomfortable, even chaotic. But that's where the results are born. It's easy. They treat execution like a religion. Morning, noon, and night. It's about moving the needle. Every meeting, every call, every step is tied to results. They measure progress, they track outcomes, they hold themselves to standards most people would call insane. And they don't blame anyone for failure, they own it, then they fix it. That's what separates them from the herd. While the average person is telling stories about what they're gonna do, the billionaire is already doing it, silently, consistently, relentlessly. So, if you're still living in your head, if you're still talking about your idea, let this be your wake-up call. Ideas won't pay your bills, execution will. You don't need more books. You don't need more motivation. You need to pick something, get obsessed, and go. Shut out the noise, cut the distractions, burn the damn boats. Because success doesn't come to the most inspired. It comes to the most disciplined executors. Stop dreaming, start doing. They operate with military-level standards because average just doesn't cut it when you're aiming for billions. Discipline isn't optional, it's mandatory. For billion-dollar thinkers, success is war, and their habits are their weapons. These people don't hit snooze. They don't see how they feel in the morning. They wake up early every day with purpose. While most are still dreaming, they're executing. They're not reacting to life, they're dominating it from the moment their feet hit the ground. Billionaires track everything Not because they're obsessed with numbers, but because what gets measured gets managed. You can't improve what you don't track. Whether it's revenue, productivity, time spent, or energy output, they know their numbers better than their birthdays. If their performance dips, they find out why and fix it fast. No excuses, no delays, just solutions. And if something or someone isn't producing, they don't coddle it. They cut it. This isn't daycare. This is the battlefield of high performance. They ruthlessly cut distractions. No endless scrolling, no wasting hours in meaningless meetings, no pretending to be busy. Billion-dollar minds don't glorify being productive. They glorify results. They build systems. They delegate what doesn't matter, and they protect their time like it's gold, because it is. Every minute wasted is money lost, opportunities gone, and ground given up to the competition. And they don't tolerate that, not for 1 second. And let's talk about their inner circle. You think a billionaire surrounds himself with lazy, entitled, excuse-making losers? Hell no. The people closest to them are killers, mentally sharp, emotionally tough, and absolutely committed to the mission. One weak link can destroy an entire operation, and they know that. Loyalty matters, yes, but loyalty without performance is useless. If someone doesn't deliver, they're out. No feelings, no explanations, just results. Their entire life runs like a well-oiled machine, from the clothes they wear to the decisions they make to the food they eat. It's all intentional. There's no randomness. There's no hoping things work out. Billion-dollar thinkers don't leave success to chance. They engineer it. Every day, every hour, every minute. That's the mindset. That's the standard. They don't just talk discipline, they live it. And they expect it from everyone around them. Not because they're harsh, but because they know what it takes to win at the highest level. And if you can't meet that level, you're not part of the mission. Simple. So, if you want to think like them, live like them, earn like them, you better start acting like them. Raise your standards, build structure, master discipline, because average effort will never unlock elite results. You're either operating at a standard that builds empires, or you're just playing dress up in the fantasy of success. Life is unpredictable. It will hit you hard. Unexpected losses, betrayal, setbacks, market crashes, public failures. Most people panic, they overreact. They let their emotions take the wheel, and in that moment, they give away their power. But billion-dollar thinkers, they operate on a whole different frequency. They don't react, they strategize. Their mind isn't wired for emotional chaos. It's trained for calculated action. They understand that reacting emotionally is the fastest way to lose control, lose clarity, and ultimately lose the game. They know the battlefield is not just physical, it's mental. And in this game of life, only those who remain calm under pressure rise to the top. When a problem shows up, the average person asks, why me? The billionaire asks, what's the move? They don't waste time complaining because they understand time is the only currency they can't get back. You'll never hear them say, I didn't expect this. They expect problems. They plan for chaos. While the average person gets blindsided by the storm, the billionaire is already building the ark. That's the difference. This mindset is built, not born. It's forged through discipline, pain, setbacks, and relentless focus. Billion-dollar thinkers approach life like a chessboard. Every move calculated, every response measured. They don't respond to critics. They let results do the talking. They don't get baited into drama. They're too busy building empires. While others are distracted by gossip, ego, and noise, they're making strategic plays that will pay off 5, 10, even 20 years down the line. This doesn't mean they don't feel emotion. It means they've mastered it. They've trained themselves to pause, to breathe, to analyze, and then to strike with precision. Their decisions are driven by data, not drama. Emotion clouds judgment, and billion-dollar minds don't gamble with foggy thinking. Every setback, every betrayal, every obstacle is seen not as an attack, but as a test, and they love the test. Why? Because it sharpens them. It keeps them on edge. It reminds them they're in the arena, and the arena doesn't reward softness. Most people live on emotional autopilot. They lash out, they make impulsive choices, they defend their pride at the cost of their potential. Billion-dollar thinkers are different. They detach from noise. They observe, they study the players, they understand timing is everything, and sometimes the most powerful move is patience. They're not interested in being right, they're focused on winning. And winning requires discipline of the highest order. So the next time life slaps you in the face, ask yourself, will you react like the average or strategize like the elite? Because in the end, the world doesn't reward the loudest, it rewards the most calculated. And billion-dollar thinkers, they're too focused, too strategic, too dangerous to be moved by anything less than results. The average man wakes up each day trying to avoid pain. He searches for the easiest path, the most convenient route, the least amount of resistance. He wants comfort, safety, and predictability. But the problem is, comfort never built empires. Comfort never forged billion-dollar minds. Billion-dollar thinkers are wired differently. They are addicted to growth, not comfort. They deliberately walk into the fire. They do what others won't so they can live like others can't. Where the average man sees discomfort as a threat, they see it as a signal, an invitation to evolve. They understand that every moment of discomfort holds within it the seed of growth, power, and transformation. These people don't shy away from fear, they run toward it. They welcome uncertainty. They make the uncomfortable phone call. They step into the meeting unprepared but committed. They say yes before they feel ready because they understand growth isn't pretty. It's not supposed to feel good. It's supposed to stretch you. And if you're not being stretched, you're being left behind. Billion-dollar thinkers don't sit around wishing life was easier. They train to become stronger. They know that every level of their future requires a stronger, sharper, more resilient version of themselves. So they seek out the discomfort that most people run from because it forges them, it hardens them, it upgrades their operating system. Discomfort is the training ground for excellence. Billion-dollar thinkers make it a lifestyle. While the world is busy numbing itself, scrolling, binging, avoiding, they are out there in the arena, bleeding for their goals. They're having the difficult conversations no one wants to have. They're making decisions under pressure. They're getting rejected, failing publicly, facing criticism, and yet they show up again. Why? Because they're not addicted to how things feel today. They're addicted to who they're becoming tomorrow. You can't grow in a bubble of safety. There is no expansion in routine, no evolution in ease. Every great leap forward comes after a moment of intense discomfort. Billion-dollar thinkers train themselves to crave that. They build a relationship with pain, not because they're masochists, but because they've realized it's the price of greatness. They're not victims of discomfort. They are masters of it. They don't avoid the storm, they become the storm. If you're not willing to be uncomfortable, you're not ready to win. It's that simple. You can have comfort or you can have growth. You can have excuses or you can have results. But you can't have both. The path to a billion-dollar life demands discomfort daily. The question is, are you brave enough to step into it? Or will you keep playing small, chasing comfort while watching others build the life you only dream about? If you want a billion-dollar life, you need a billion-dollar mindset. Not someday, today. Rip out the weakness, kill the excuses, upgrade your mind or stay broke, mentally, emotionally, financially. The choice is yours. Because remember, choices don't build empires, execution does.